Welcome to English Every Day.
Story 1. I still think about you. I don't know why, but sometimes I still think about you. It's not often, but sometimes, in the quiet spaces of my day. Memories of you gently return. It's strange, isn't? We haven't spoken in so long. Our lives have gone in different directions. You have your world now, and I have mine. And yet, even with all the space between us, your memory still visits me like an old friend. A quiet presence that doesn't knock, doesn't speak, just sits beside me for a while. You appear in the small things, in a song that randomly plays when I'm walking down the street, in the smell of rain on a cold morning, in a joke someone tells that sounds exactly like something you would say. I hear your laugh in my head sometimes. I remember the way you looked at me when I wasn't paying attention, and I smile, not because it hurts anymore, but because it meant something. You meant something. There was a time when I thought I could live without you, when every part of my day felt connected to you, when every plan, every dream somehow had your name written in the corner. Losing that was hard. I won't lie. It broke me in ways I didn't expect. Quiet ways. Ways I didn't show to anyone. But time has a way of softening the edges. The pain doesn't feel sharp anymore. The silence isn't as heavy. I've learned how to carry it gently. I've learned how to keep moving, even with your shadow still somewhere in the background. No, I'm not stuck in the past. I've grown. I've healed in many ways. I laugh more now. I enjoy my own company. I make plans that no longer include us. And yet, there's still a part of me that wonders, do you ever think of me, too? Do you remember the small moments, the late night talks, the way we just fit, even if it was only for a while? Sometimes I write letters to you in my head, letters you never read, words you'll never hear. I tell you about my day, my thoughts, the people I've met. I imagine what you would say, how you would smile, how you would probably tease me a little before giving me the advice I didn't know I needed. And then, just like that, the moment passes. I go back to my day. I keep living. But the thought of you stays with me for just a little while longer, like the warmth of sunlight after it leaves your skin. I don't want you back. That's not what this is. It's not about regret or holding on. It's about remembering. Because some people, even after they're gone, leave a soft mark on our hearts. You were one of those people. You were the kind of person that didn't need to stay forever, to be unforgettable. You were a chapter I will never skip, even if I have moved on to the next page. So yes, I still think about you, not with sadness, not with longing, but with a quiet kind of love, the kind that stays even in silence, the kind that teaches even after goodbye, the kind that still lives softly inside of me. Story 2, a walk in the rain with my thoughts. It was raining when I stepped outside. Not a storm, not heavy, just a soft, steady rain that kissed the ground and made everything feel quieter. The kind of rain that doesn't scare you away, but invites you to slow down. I didn't rush to hide. I simply kept walking. There was something peaceful about the way the drops touched my face, cold but gentle, as if the sky itself was trying to speak in whispers. I didn't carry an umbrella. I didn't wear a raincoat. I just walked with the sound of the rain and the rhythm of my thoughts. My mind was full of questions, memories, feelings I hadn't named, and somehow the rain made it easier to hear them. There was no need to hide. No one was watching. The streets were almost empty, and for once, I didn't feel the need to smile or pretend. I just let myself be. I thought about the things I have lost, the people I miss, the words I never said. I thought about how fast everything moves, how we're always rushing to fix, to prove, to be okay. But in the rain, nothing rushed. Everything slowed down, even my heart. I walked past trees and windows and parked cars. But I wasn't really paying attention. I was somewhere between the world around me and the world inside me. And in that space, I found a kind of quiet I hadn't felt in a long time. I remembered moments, his smile, a goodbye I didn't want, the feeling of being held, and the feeling of being let go. I let the memories come without fighting them. I didn't push them away. I just walked with them, like old friends I hadn't seen in years. Sometimes we need to feel the rain to know we're still alive. Sometimes we need to be alone with our thoughts to hear what our heart is really saying. And that day, I heard mine. It wasn't asking for answers. It wasn't angry or loud. It was just tired and quiet and human. By the time I reached home, my clothes were wet, my hair was messy, and my shoes made soft squishing sounds with every step. But my mind felt clearer. My heart felt lighter. The rain hadn't fixed anything, but it had held space for me. It gave me a moment, a breath, a walk, and sometimes that's all we need. Story 3. The beauty of missing someone. I never thought missing someone could be beautiful. For a long time, I only saw the pain in it, the empty space they left, the silence that followed, the memories that wouldn't go away. But as time passed, I began to see something else, something softer. Missing someone means you once had something real, something that touched your heart, something that mattered. It means there was laughter, connection, maybe even love. It means your soul recognized another soul and held on to it, even if only for a short while. Sometimes I miss people who are still alive, just no longer close. Sometimes I miss people who don't miss me back, and sometimes I miss the version of someone that no longer exists. But no matter the reason, that missing comes with a quiet beauty, a reminder that I once cared deeply. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. I used to be afraid of missing people. I thought it meant I was stuck, weak, still holding on. But now I see it differently. I see it as proof that I loved honestly, that I felt something real, that I gave a piece of my heart, and for a time, someone else carried it. Missing someone doesn't mean I want them back. It doesn't mean I haven't moved on. It just means a part of my story still whispers their name sometimes. A song, a street, a smell, and suddenly, there they are in my thoughts like a quiet visitor. And I welcome them not with tears, not with regret, but with a small smile. Because missing someone is not always about sadness. Sometimes it's about memory, about gratitude, about feeling deeply, even after goodbye. There is beauty in that. There is beauty in remembering what once made you feel alive. There is beauty in carrying love, even when it has no place to go. There is beauty in the silence, in the pause, in the space where someone used to be. So yes, I miss people, and sometimes it hurts, but sometimes it feels like light, soft, golden, and warm. A reminder that my heart still remembers, and that in itself is beautiful. Story 4. I found love in a bookstore. It happened on a quiet afternoon. I wasn't looking for anything special, just a break from a busy week and a little peace. I stepped into the bookstore like I had done many times before. The soft lighting, the smell of paper, the calming silence. It always made me feel like time slowed down the moment I walked in. I was wandering through the fiction section, running my fingers gently along the spines of books, not really searching, just exploring. And then, as I turned the corner, I saw him. He was standing in front of the poetry shelf, reading with his head slightly tilted, completely lost in the page. At first, I didn't think much of it. Just another quiet stranger in a quiet place. But something about him felt familiar. Not in the I have seen you before way, but in the I have felt this before way. Soft curiosity, gentle interest, something I hadn't felt in a long time. He looked up. Our eyes met. It was only a second, but it felt like longer. He smiled, not a big smile, just enough to say, I see you, and I smiled back. I moved to the next shelf, pretending to keep browsing. But my heart was suddenly louder than it had been all day. I didn't expect anything. I wasn't hoping for magic. But when he walked over, holding a book in his hand, and said, Have you read this one? I think you might like it. Something shifted. We talked, not about big things, just books, authors, stories we loved. It was easy, like we had always known how to speak to each other. Like our conversations had been waiting for that exact moment to begin. We didn't exchange numbers that day. There was no dramatic ending, no rushing, just two people standing between shelves of stories, writing the first few lines of their own. I came back to that bookstore a week later. So did he. And from then on, our story slowly unfolded, between pages, over coffee, under soft lights and quiet words. It wasn't loud, it wasn't rushed, but it was real. I never imagined I would find love in a bookstore, but maybe that's the best kind of love, the kind you're not looking for, the kind that finds you when your heart is open and your hands are holding nothing but a book. And now, every time I step into a bookstore, I smile, because love lives in the quietest places. Story 5. My quiet Sunday morning. Sunday mornings are different. They're not loud. They are not urgent. They don't pull me in 10 different directions like the rest of the week. They simply arrive quietly, gently, as if whispering, take your time. I woke up today without an alarm. My eyes opened slowly, not from noise or stress, but because the soft light through the window touched my face like a kind hand. I stretched, not because I had to move, but because it felt good to take up space in my own bed. And for a moment, I just lay there, wrapped in warm blankets, listening to the birds outside, and the lull hum of a world not in a hurry. There's something sacred about a slow morning. I walked to the kitchen, barefoot on the cool floor, and made myself a cup of tea, not to wake up faster, not to get through tasks, just to enjoy. The steam rose from the cup and curled in the sunlight like tiny dancing spirits. I stood there for a while, holding the warmth in my hands, breathing it in. I sat by the window, as I always do on Sundays. It's my little ritual. Outside, the world moved at its own rhythm. A couple walked by, hand in hand. A boy rode his bicycle with sleepy joy. A neighbor watered her plants. Nothing special, yet somehow everything felt beautiful. I didn't check my phone. I didn't turn on the TV. I didn't scroll or swipe or reply. Instead, I opened the book that's been sitting by my bed all week, the one I never have time for. I let my eyes move gently across the pages, pausing at the lines that stirred something in me, marking the words that spoke directly to my heart. Later, I put on some soft music, instrumental piano with a hint of rain. It matched the mood of the morning, calm, thoughtful, warm. I cleaned up my little space, not out of obligation, but as an act of care. I lit a candle with a scent I love. I arranged my pillows. I folded my blanket neatly, not for anyone else to see, just for me. And in all that simplicity, I felt something I hadn't felt in a while. Peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from everything being perfect, but the kind that comes when I give myself permission to stop, to breathe, to exist without pressure, to simply enjoy the sound of the rain, the softness of my clothes, and the taste of warm tea, the quiet company of my own thoughts. Sometimes the world tells us we always need to do more, be more, prove more. But my quiet Sunday morning reminds me that I am already enough, that joy can live in small moments, that healing can begin in stillness. And maybe happiness doesn't always come from big things. Maybe it lives in slow sips of tea, in morning light, in quiet breaths, and in the gentle way we come home to ourselves. That, to me, is the true beauty of a quiet Sunday morning. Story 6. My favorite love quote and why. My favorite love quote is simple, quiet, and a little sad. It says, "You are my favorite, what if?" Just 7 words, but for me, those 7 words carry an entire story. A story without a clear beginning or a proper ending. A story that never happened, but still lives in my heart. I found the quote in a small notebook at a bookstore one rainy afternoon. It wasn't famous. It wasn't written by a best-selling author. It was just there, printed on the corner of a page like it didn't want to be noticed. But it found me, and when I read it, I paused. I read it again and again, and I whispered to myself, This is exactly how I feel, because we all have that one person, don't we? The one who almost became something, the one who made us feel something real, even if we never said the words out loud, the one who walked beside us for a little while and then didn't. When I think of that quote, I think of him. He was kind, thoughtful, gentle in ways most people never noticed. He listened. He remembered little things. And when he looked at me, sometimes it felt like he saw more than just a friend. but we never talked about it. We stayed in the safe space between friendship and something more. We never crossed the line. We were always close, almost close enough to touch, but never quite. I told myself it was nothing, just a small feeling, just a passing thought, but the truth is, it wasn't small. It stayed through quiet nights, through songs I couldn't skip, through dreams I didn't expect. It stayed in the way I smiled when I saw his name, and the way my heart sank when I realized I wouldn't see him again. We never had a moment, no confession, no goodbye, just time and distance, and life moving forward without us ever trying to stop it. And that's what makes it hurt a little more. There was no ending because there was no beginning, just a feeling, just a what if. If you find this video meaningful and enjoyable, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next videos. Thank you and goodbye.